A lot of us are stuck at home, which means now more than ever we've got to take care of our furry friends keeping us company. So treat your dog with BarkBox Super Chewer, a themed collection of super tough toys, treats, and chews sent to your home every month. Use our link to get one free extra month. Go to superchewer.com/Simpsons or click the link in our description. That's superchewer.com/Simpsons.
Hey everybody, this is Sari.
And this is Sean.
And the Simpson siblings are we.
And we are the Simpson siblings.
Exactly. And we love Simpsons.
You know that by now, though.
Yes, you do. Hopefully, someone is going to have this be their first episode.
If you're new here, welcome.
Is that from something?
No.
Oh. Yeah, so happy Valentine's Day. Or really happy 2 days after President's Day. Yes. Which is also a President's Day episode, so maybe we did this on purpose.
Yes.
Yes, of course we did. This is, of course, I Love Lisa, Season 4, Episode 15, originally aired February 11th, 1993. Directed by Wes Archer, written by Frank Mula, guest star Michael Carrington as Sideshow Raheem. He has 2 words.
Ooh. I remember him. And then we open up with the chalkboard scene with Bart writing, "I will not call the principal Spudhead."
I was kind of curious about that.
Is that like a bad insult, or?
I don't know, and I was trying to, connect Mr. Skinner to potatoes.
It made me think of, football head.
Yeah, football head.
And then, the couch gag, we have one of our favorites, or at least one of mine,
Mm-hmm.
the whole musical bit. It's like the circus that opens up, and
it keeps going and going.
And you just sing that melody, and you just know it so well. And we're cool.
For the longest time, that was the longest couch gag, but now they've whacked that out of the park pretty thoroughly.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wrote down was that there was a full intro on top of the circus intro. Sometimes they'll cut out part of the intro to save time, but they had the full intro and the circus intro. The real show doesn't start till 1:30 in.
I wonder if they decide, because a lot of them are repeated. Mm-hmm. If they're like, okay, how much time do we have left? Mm-hmm. What can we they fit the intro to what's left.
That's exactly. That's how it usually works. They probably went really under time with this episode, and we're just throwing everything at it.
Which makes me think some of the newer episodes have those 3-minute long openings.
Yeah.
Did they just not account for time properly?
I don't know. I know sometimes they do have guest artists and stuff. So in that case, they probably meld it more to that. I'd be curious what the difference is in their practices comparatively.
Yeah.
The Monster Mash thing is so stupid, and I love it every time. I never get tired of it. You put in the wrong song, didn't you?
And that comes back at the end, too.
Oh, yeah. I love the bookends with that. And I definitely think of this episode every time that comes on the radio on Halloween, even though it's nowhere close to Valentine's Day.
Me, too.
So we start out with Bart listening to the radio and making those fake Valentine's Day hearts, which I always wondered, did he have the forethought to use food dye, or is he just painting them?
It's probably just a Sharpie.
It probably is. It's Bart. But he is very professional with it.
One of those fine point Sharpies.
Oh, yeah. That'll work. That's fine.
I like some of them are Kiss Off, Eat My Shorts, Prize Pig, and Love Sucks.
Yeah. Which, a Prize Pig makes me think of Babe.
Me too.
Which, I wonder, did that come out the same year?
You can just be like, "Hey, babe, I got some candy for you."
Oh my God, that'd be terrible. Oh, we switched to one of my favorite Homer's Head moments. I absolutely love this scene where Marge gives him the bacon shaped like "I love you," and he's trying to figure out which holiday it is.
What have I forgotten? Is it Bacon Day?
get like a second by second play of what's happening. Like we're not just being shown Homer's head and seeing like sometimes when we get a Homer's head moment, it's almost like time stops for a bit while he kind of talks to himself, but you're actually seeing like Marge's reaction. Like she's wondering why he's just sitting there staring.
Yeah.
She's getting worried. Happy Valentine's Day. And the fact that he woohoos too, like she should have known that he was guessing.
Yeah.
And just happened to get it right.
And then I just love the interaction with Bart. Marge doesn't pick up on it, but Bart picks up right away that he did forget. He had a lucky guess. Mm-hmm. And he just goes, well, why don't you give Mom her present now?
Something that I don't really think about a lot is there's several parts through the series where you hear these footsteps in the background. Like in this gag where Homer kind of he's like, I'm going to go upstairs and get it. And you're... Like there's several, it doesn't happen consistently, but there's at least a couple episodes where you get that sort of in another room footstep kind of gag. Like I'm thinking of like when Leonard Nimoy leaves in the middle of the X-Files episode, where you sort of just hear like, I'll just get something from my car.
You hear the car door and the engine starting.
Yeah, and of course at the end of this gag we see Homer kind of like fall off the roof.
Which is perfect. Cause
it's beautiful.
It's a flawless plan because where could he go if he's on the second floor? Mm-hmm. But he thinks he's got it figured out, but no.
Oh, that's Homer. So he ends up going to the Quickie Mart, and Apu offers him this box of chocolate that looks like it has years of dust on it.
He would be better off just not buying it.
Yeah. I mean, poor Marge is going to get food poisoning or something from this thing. And the whole, like, he charges him $100 for it. And he's like, you're going to be screwed if he figures out about the discount store, like, down the street. And then he says 5 cents off expired baby food.
That's a pretty good deal, though.
Is it? I mean, how much did baby food cost in the 90s?
I don't know.
I was a baby.
I mean,
that
might
time.
have been a good... Well, but it's off expired baby food.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. So we've got the school, and we've got Miss Hoover giving them the useless busy work.
I love that line. Lisa, isn't this just useless busy work? And she goes, bingo. Like, or bullseye, and touches her nose. Like, she's not even going to deny it.
She has no shame in this episode. There's, like, several parts of it where it's... Like, you don't really think of this as a Miss Hoover episode. I mean, there really is no Miss Hoover episode. But she gets a lot of moments in this one.
Which, I was going to say, we see a lot of Mrs. Crandall's classroom.
Crandall!
We see a lot of Krabappel's classroom a lot. But Miss Hoover... I kind of like the dynamic of her classroom and her voice style better, but we don't see as much of her.
Yeah.
And, like, we see Mrs. Krabappel as, like, some of the B-plot episodes and stuff, but we don't really see Hoover as, like, a central point to anything.
She's a mystery. She really is. The other line, which is just absolutely... It's equal parts hilarious and terrible, is when Ralph keeps getting into things where he's like, I can't use the scissors, and these can't cut through butter, and he ends up, getting the crayon in his mouth, and Miss Hoover says, they're right to laugh at you, Ralph.
And
how terrible!
Like, after she says this, like, Ralph, we're used to Ralph saying a lot of stupid things and being, like, ignorant of the world and everything, but he seems genuinely sad after that point.
Yeah.
Like, his tone changes. He's trying and he feels defeated. Like, they did a good job of setting up those feels beforehand.
Like, to show the authority figure saying that kind of thing is just like, you don't have anyone on your side.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you a bit of understanding why he acts the way he does when someone finally does show him just a little bit of care.
Yeah.
We cut to Skinner finding out about the fake candy hearts that Bart's been giving out. And we have this really bloody Vietnam scene. I noticed Johnny has the same voice as the squeaky teen.
Yeah.
And then he kind of like has a breakdown over the announcement thing.
It does feel out of place a little bit.
It does. And I actually read online that's like they got letters about that scene that some people didn't like it. So I know, like, I watched this one with my daughter, and I told her not to look just during that one scene because I knew it was coming. It does seem a bit out of place. I don't know how I feel about it.
And then afterwards, when he's screaming Johnny on the PA system, and Bart just goes, "Cool, I broke his brain." Like, it's very like nonchalant. Like, oh, I gave him emotional trauma, and
Yeah, that's kind of messed up.
whereas the meme is these days emotional damage.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah,
I'm not hip.
it'll be gone in a week.
Oh, okay. Meanwhile, poor Ralph, he seems to get into like one mishap after another. And of course, when they finally give out the Valentines, Ralph doesn't get any, and Lisa feels bad. And this is like the crux of the episode, is Lisa making this decision to give him a Valentine. And I definitely had this a couple times as a kid where I would feel bad for someone and I would kind of like stick up for them or try to talk to them, and then they ended up developing a crush on me. Like, that happened multiple different times with different people throughout school, so I always related with this episode a lot.
Did they choo-choo-choose you?
Yeah, I guess they did, but I didn't really choose them back. I kind of wanted to just be friends. But it really kind of shows, too, that, like, I don't know, I kind of was thinking about this episode sort of from the sociological, philosophical sense, and it really kind of is about Ralph's journey as a character, because he starts out being really dependent on Lisa's love for him, quote unquote love, because that's the first real sort of affection any sort of amount of affection he gets from any amount of his peers. But he slowly builds up through the episode, mostly at the end, that he learns that he doesn't need that in order to stick up for himself and be himself. But that also wouldn't have happened if Lisa didn't start that process. And I may be thinking way too far into this.
Well, it's something that, as we see Ralph over the years, we know he's got some issues with, like, interpersonal relationships and everything. And I just think that there's a lot there to look into throughout not just this episode, but just all of the episodes that have him, because there's a lot to unpack with Ralph.
Maybe we should have him be our next character.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We'd have to pick, like, some specific... Because he's in so many episodes. We'd have to pick, like, a couple core episodes, you know? But...
I'd like that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, this is already, like, one of the main core episodes, I'd say, of his development.
We're halfway done.
Wow! It's just a clip show.
Podcasting is easy, kids.
Yeah! Sorry for the clip show. What was the Star Trek episode that was a clip show? And it was like a season finale, and like Riker's in a coma.
Oh, it was the last episode of season 2.
God, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Like they made Star Trek into a clip show.
That was Pulaski's last episode.
Pulaski. I never liked her. Pulaski, get out of here. Okay, once again we're transitioning. We're talking about Simpsons to Star Trek. Okay, where did I leave off?
We were talking about Ralph getting the card and everything.
Do you want to share the card that you got?
Okay, so I do have to say that my girlfriend did get me, shipped from overseas from an Etsy shop, the exact card that says, "I choo-choo-choose you." And I got it for Valentine's Day. And I have to say, it is the best card I've ever received.
Aww, that's adorable.
So thank you.
Oh, it's cute. So yeah, we kind of go from that scene to the beef hearts.
This was really weird for me as a kid. Because I remember as a kid watching this. First with the truck arriving, and he says, "Where do you want the hearts?" And just put them on the floor.
It's not even the fact that it's beef hearts. It's the fact that they're just... And the guy even says the floor doesn't look very clean.
Yeah, and when Lunch Lady Doris just tells him to do it, and he opens the door, and there's kind of like the rubber rubbing against rubber sound. And you can just tell that they're not, like, just from the sound, I always pictured them as old, cold, rubbery hearts, like not even fresh. And that's just disgusting.
And the fact that it kind of stays there for a second before they fall out.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they're all packed in there like that and they're all just rubbery and gross. And they don't even show how the kids are eating them if they're prepared. Because I know Bart has the prank with the heart coming out, but they don't show how the kids are actually eating them.
Yeah.
Like, are they being prepared in a dish and Bart just happened to sneak one of them away before they cooked it? Or are they just, like, plopping them on their plates?
Well, I always wondered that, too, because it pops out of his chest and all the kids act surprised like they haven't seen it.
So I'm guessing she's preparing them somehow.
That was my thought, that she's, like, blending them or dicing them, because when the kids in the lunchroom see it, it's a shock to them.
So at least she's got the decency to prepare it somehow.
She's such a decent lady.
Yeah, I'm still picturing that terrifying image of her with the wind up blenders in Nightmare Cafeteria.
And she's just a grade D cook.
There you go. With some grade F meat and some milk with vitamin R.
Was it grade F meat or was it grade D?
I thought it was grade F. I can't remember.
They didn't give them too much
I
credit.
can't remember. Yeah. But the milk did have vitamin R. So Ralph offers to walk Lisa home, and we just get all of the great Ralph lines, like within 3 minutes. We get, and there's a picture of a train. We get the nosebleeds line. And we get the "you like stuff," which is something that I repeatedly quoted as a kid.
Oh, we still say that all the time.
So, you like stuff? Oh, it's just so painfully awkward but adorable at the same time. And you can tell he's trying to make a connection to her. Like saying the whole line with the nosebleeds. Like he's heard adults having conversations about their issues and he wants to emulate that.
See, this is where I kind of identify with Ralph, because it's hard talking to new people.
Oh,
at least for
yeah.
me.
Yeah, same here.
So I feel bad for him.
Yeah. We got the Itchy and Scratchy segments. This is one of the few that actually gets a laugh out of me. Because I don't usually find these very funny. But I do love when he looks at the newspaper and it says that you need a heart to live.
Well, it's breaking news.
And the fact that complete delayed reaction to anything physical happening to him with his heart out of his chest.
Now, I have to ask, if it doesn't make you laugh very often, did you sell your soul?
I mean, that is what Bart did when he didn't laugh at it.
I just watched that one again yesterday. So.
Oh, that's one of the best. So we have Krusty announcing his 29th anniversary special, which is such an arbitrary number.
I know. That bothered me as a kid, too. Like, just wait another year. Or, knowing Krusty, he's going to have another special on the 30th, and it's just going to rake in even more money.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's a money grab. Well, it's also, what's the episode number for the Simpsons Spectacular? It's like some arbitrary number, too. It's like 287th episode Spectacular or something.
Yeah.
So they seem to like to do that. Lisa talks to Marge about Ralph, and Homer gives absolutely terrible advice. He kind of lists off some excuses she can give, including, "I'm married to the sea." She's like 8. And "I'm not gay, but I'll learn." Which would be so sad to hear from someone.
I know. I'm like, Homer, who hurt you?
Exactly. Oh my God. And it's hard because you feel bad for both of them in the situation. There's no right exit for this because, you feel bad for Ralph having to trek through life like this. Not to make another Star Trek reference. But his life kind of sucks and you feel bad for him. But at the same time, Lisa's really being bothered by him and being put in this weird situation that she can't really get out of.
But she wants to still be nice to him too. She wants to let him down easy, but he makes that difficult.
Yeah, so it's kind of just this battle that's happening. So she goes and she very maturely tells him that she's not interested. Like, she does a really nice job and he seems to take it well. And then he goes home to Chief Wiggum. And this whole scene, because Wiggum is there, he's cracking a bowl of nuts with the handle of his gun.
With the barrel of the gun pointing at him.
Yes. And he kind of makes a comparison about, like, being consistent and, like, he says, never underestimate the appeal of a man in uniform, and then just, like, his whole belly just, like, slops out.
Yeah, he's with just him with his belly on the table, a hole in the table, and it's just a mess.
Because he's shot one of the nuts.
Yeah, because he's persistent and never loses his cool.
Oh, my God. And then he says, like, let this be an example to the rest of you nuts.
I love that pun.
Oh, Jesus. So then we cut to Bart and Lisa watching Krusty again. And Krusty's looking back on all the years he's been on TV. And he talks about how all these reviewers said he wouldn't make it. And he says, you know where those reviewers are now? All dead. And it's like, did they die naturally? Did Krusty...
Krusty got to them.
Yeah, because he, like, kicks down on the floor. Like, how's it down there, guys? Huh? It's just very dark.
Yeah.
Turn all of a sudden.
Is this also the scene where we have Homer randomly saying, I don't know why Flanders threw away a perfectly good toothbrush?
Oh, yeah, because Lisa's talking about you to get into that, you'd have to be part of the cultural elite. And then it immediately cuts to Homer.
Yes.
What does he say exactly?
It's just like, I don't get why Flanders threw away a perfectly good toothbrush. And then it's weird because he uses it, but it's only animated as like 3 repeating frames. Mm-hmm. It's weird.
And he's like using a dry toothbrush with nothing on it.
Yeah.
It's just, why? What the heck are you doing, Homer?
Because he's in the elite.
And he's part of the cultural elite. We get Ralph coming to the door, talking about how much he loves Lisa, and Lisa kind of says for Homer to make an excuse for her. And I'd do anything for Lisa. So Homer, what exactly are they doing to the roof? Is he just re-roofing it?
Yeah, I'm just putting a layer of tar down.
Yeah, and this is one of those little Simpsons lines that I say out of context all the time, which is, Mr. Simpson, these tar fumes are making me dizzy.
Yeah, they'll do that.
They'll do that. I'll say that all the dang time for no reason. Because it's important. So the real loser in this episode is this drama kid.
Yeah, like, where did he come from?
Where did he go after?
Did he just leave the school after his
tragedy
in the play?
He was pretty upset about it.
Yeah. I forgot to write down his name. What was it?
It was something like Rex or Max. I feel like it was Rex for some reason.
Rex.
Yeah. She's like, sit down, Rex. And he kind of gets snubbed for this part in the President's Day pageant.
Of being the president.
Yes. And it's weird because even though you're supposed to kind of feel bad for him, I kind of hate him.
Yeah.
Like, he just rubs me the wrong way. I knew some people like that in school that were just so self-important.
That, like, expected to get the lead role.
Yeah. Yeah. And Yeah, so instead Ralph gets the role of George Washington and Lisa is Martha Washington, and it's totally because Chief Wiggum put like a boot on her car. And
There's the whole signal out the window.
oh my god. So Ralph ends up leaving a Malibu Stacy car with tickets to the Krusty show on their doorstep.
Another one of my favorite lines. There's some good lines in this
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
Because I say this all the time, too. Look in the tunk.
Hey, must mean trunk. I call the trunk a tunk all the time because of this line.
I swear, like, every couple times when I go grocery shopping and I go to open my trunk, in my head I just go, look in the tunk. It happens more than I want to admit.
Ralph is really trying to make just every single thing work in his favor here through his connection to his dad. And I'm curious, I would love to know how much of this is his doing and how much of it is just his dad working on his own
Yeah.
to kind of make this happen.
These are some kind of elaborate-ish plans.
Yeah.
I think Chief Wiggum had a big role in this.
Yeah. Bart says, I'm so much more of a Krusty fan than you are. I even have the Krusty home pregnancy test. And the line on the box.
May cause birth defects.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Oh my god. I love how Bart says, you shouldn't go. It wouldn't be honest. And immediately after says, I'll go disguised as you. Like, that's more honest?
And then this whole line of conversation afterwards.
I'm prepared to make that sacrifice.
What if he wants to hold your hand?
I'm prepared to make that sacrifice. And then the fact that they like cut off at the end, like what? These kids are 8. What would they say afterwards? Like, what the heck? Oh my god. Lisa goes and talks to Homer, which she should know better than to talk to Homer. She says, like, you know, if someone gave me something and I feel bad about it, what should I do? And Homer's like, why is that even a problem? Like, he's got, like, a diploma from Flanders that he's crossing out his name and putting Homer's name.
I know.
And she says, well, it's my conscience. And he goes, conscience? Don't let that pushy weenie tell you what to do. And Homer's little conscience.
Now, Homer.
Now, Homer. Oh, it's cute. The Wiggum Krusty scene. Let's move on.
Wait, the Wiggum we're talking...
How we got the tickets?
Why am I forgetting? Because I just watched this today.
You blotted it out of your mind because you didn't want to think about it.
Oh, when they're in the theater. Yes.
So this scene is being told by Wiggum in the car as he's driving Ralph and Lisa to the Krusty show. And she's asking how he got the tickets, and he recounts this scene, how like he was in a porno theater with Krusty the Clown. And like afterwards Lisa's like, Mr. Wiggum, that wasn't appropriate to tell the children.
Which is kind of like a whole, but we just broadcasted it on national television with children watching.
Oh my god.
At least in this version I wore pants.
Yes. Well, it's also funny too, because at first you kind of think that the scene's being replayed just in Wiggum's head. And it's not until Lisa says that you realize he's actually telling this to the children.
Yeah.
Which is terrible. So they finally get to the Krusty show. And he shows like some clips of old episodes. And we get the Robert Frost thing.
Yep.
Which I just love. We discussed this and I said no.
How about some snow, man?
Just doing these terrible, stupid jokes to like this famous poet.
It's not any time we see the Krusty the Clown show, any amount of distance in the past, it's either in like a talk show version or it's like an odd music thing.
Yeah.
It's never like it is present day.
It's like somewhere along the way, he just took a completely different turn in what kind of show he was going to make.
Yeah.
Also, how old is Krusty? Even when this first aired, he would have had to have been pretty old.
He just doesn't age.
Because he's like an adult in the 60s.
Yeah.
And this took place in the 90s, which would mean he'd be born in like the 40s?
no, there's some weird time distortions going on in Springfield.
There's a time-space distortion. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon. We get the ice cream stains.
Which sucks because nothing gets chocolate out.
Nothing gets chocolate out. I remember, for some reason, I really liked that scene as a kid because I always dropped things when I was a kid. And I was like, look, they do that too.
Yeah. Adults make messes all the time.
Yeah.
It's okay for kids too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like Chief Wiggum. Isn't that great?
A nice role model.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this made me a little suspicious. When he does the talk to the audience, he immediately goes to Lisa and Ralph.
I mean, Wiggum could have been working his magic still.
Yep. I was wondering if he kind of set him up to do that. And then we get that famous scene with where she kind of breaks his heart, where he says, "This is Lisa. When I grow up, I'm going to marry her." And that's like her breaking point right there.
Yeah, you don't see Lisa flip out too often, but when she does, it's big. And
yeah,
I always like how they did this scene, like the transition of us watching it happening to it being a replay on a tape. Like I thought that was always really creative.
That's awesome editing right there. Just forming your scene around them watching the scene. It's awesome.
It's that whole thing, like as you slowly pan out, it morphs into a television view.
I love it.
Is there a word for that?
Panning out and having it morph into a television view. It's very
good to know.
It's very snappy. Oh my gosh, the scene after this is not as memorable, but I always thought this was one of the funniest scenes in the entire episode. When Ralph's really sad and he's throwing bread to the ducks, and Chief Wiggum goes up to him and is like, I know exactly how you feel. You got a girlfriend that you love and you're on top of the world. And just the series from this to the next part when he says, no, she humiliated me. He's like, oh, yeah. Well, she's going to learn what it's like to, to God, I can't remember the exact words. Oh, the awesome power of the chief of police.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, where's my badge? And there's just, the duck is walking with his badge, and he's just barely waddling behind him.
Their waddles are synchronized.
Yes.
Perfect.
It's perfect. I love it. It's beautiful.
It's Wiggum.
It's Wiggum, baby. So he actually goes to the extent that he pulls over Homer, which is kind of messed up. Like,
yeah, and like damaging his car with the taillight out.
And Homer gives a line, one of these days someone's going to stand up to you, crooked cops. Oh no, have they set a date?
He's just genuinely concerned.
Like, he thinks this is something specifically happening at this moment. Then we have the orange, it's not orange juice, it's orange drink.
Orange drink.
And
I love that. Like, and they're selling it for 50 cents a glass, and it's like how to recoup losses. And it's just, it makes me sad for the economics of schools.
Yes, and he keeps trying to get Willie to water it down. I can't water her down any further. Which itself is kind of a Star Trek reference, because it's almost like,
I thought that. I was wondering if that's what they were going for.
give not all she's got, Captain. Yeah. And then they sit down and they prepare themselves for a wonderful evening of entertainment and cleaning up after yourselves.
Skinner is always awkward when he's speaking in front of the parents.
He's just always awkward.
Even from episode 1.
Yep. That's true. A medley of holiday favorites. I'll always remember poor William Henry Harrison because of this song. Because he died in 30 days.
They did a good job with that song.
They really did. Like, it's catchy. It throws a lot of things into a small amount of time.
And someone had fun researching it.
Yeah, you can tell. I'll always love Milhouse's Lincoln and Bart as John Wilkes Booth. Just this sort of fight they get into.
And just the way that Milhouse, it opens, the violent Civil War's over. Now to soothe my head with some theater. And he points to his head. Oh, God, Milhouse.
God. Oh, it's great. And Bart's got this whole, like, Terminator facade with the sunglasses.
And then when he gets picked up, I love this line in his tone of, unhand me, Yankee.
Yeah. It's a very old school Simpsons sort of delivery of that line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He seems, like, sometimes Bart feels like he's older. Mm-hmm. But that's just, like, a childish, like, unhand me.
Yeah. Oh, and we've got Homer in the audience while they're fighting. Come on, boy, finish him off.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just kind of shocked at what's happening here. Like, can you imagine being at a children's play and just two kids just start fist fighting? Just John Wilkes Booth and Abraham Lincoln, like 10 years old, fist fighting.
I mean, I wouldn't expect anything more from the state that Springfield's in.
That is true. That is true. I kind of love the twist that Ralph is actually amazing at this.
Oh, yeah. I wrote down just good acting from Lisa, too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Ralph does, like, something about, like, his emotions kicked in and, like, the way he stood over that fire. And he just is, like, clear with his speech and to the point and, like, that never... Like, he just does a good job.
And yet at the same time, he didn't realize which president he was going to be earlier on. Where he, like, tried to sit in the wheelchair and everything.
Yeah. And Lisa goes, He's got, like, the eyeglasses and everything.
Oh, my God. And it kind of shows, too, like, he had to go through some change to sort of get to that point. And he also needed people to give him a chance. Like, he needed Lisa to give him a chance, and he needed Miss Hoover to give him a chance, because if he wouldn't have gotten that role, he wouldn't have realized that he was able to do that. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I wish they... I mean, it would have been hard, but it would have been nice to explore a bit more of, like, kind of a flip side of Ralph, that he's this kind of kid that's having trouble getting through life, having a rough time, but this one thing of, like, acting. Like, it would have been cool if every once in a while there's an acting thing. Mm-hmm. And when it comes up, it's, like, not to bring it up, but, you know, like on Star Trek, like Brent Spiner, when he gets to go from a monotone character to playing emotion or doing something when he plays lore, has all the emotions. Like, give Ralph a chance to explore that other side of him, too.
Yeah.
That light switch flips, he's in the play, and then as soon as the scene's done, he flips back to being Ralph.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. And, like, the future episodes, they just kind of show him as a loser. They don't really show anything intricate, any growth, really.
Yeah.
Also, there's fire on the stage?
Yeah.
It seems like a bad idea in, like, a closed-off auditorium filled with tons of people.
Not enough fire exits.
Wait a minute, this school auditorium doesn't have enough fire exits. Also, there's a kid in the front row that is missing a nose.
Oh.
Animation error. I love the obnoxious ending of this play. Like, it's really kind of quiet and subdued and very, you know, drama-driven. And then suddenly they get pulled upward.
How much did that cost?
I know. And it always kills me when the Mount Rushmore starts talking. Like, it's from sea to shining sea.
And it's got, like, some reverb in it, like Seymour recorded it 4 times.
Thanks for coming. Be sure to get some delicious orange drink.
For the long ride home. And the lips don't even match.
You can kind of hear a little squeaking to it.
And it keeps going after he's done talking.
Oh, it kills me every time. I love how the end is all about Ralph kind of finding how to find his own... He kind of finds out how to get his own worth out of himself. And that he's been struggling, but now he's kind of found something that he's good at. He's got, like, all these people, like, signing his autographs or asking for his autographs. And he accepts Lisa asking them to just be friends.
And I kind of see it, too, as this whole episode, they're kind of exploring, reaching a whole new level of, like, growing up and being more mature. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, they're just back to being kids. Yeah. It's like they both weren't ready for that level of maturity. Exactly. So they just went back to how things were.
I love this shot, this frame, not the frame, but this shot, the way it's framed, where you see Chief Wiggum in his car and the kids are on the swing and they go into the frame. Yeah. And just the way they kick and the way, like, their hair kind of bounces up, it's so carefree and childish and... like what they're supposed to be right now.
And then we've just got this cute music in the background.
Oh, yeah, this very suitable President's Day music of Monster Mash. and that's the end.
And the DJ's just like, dang it.
Dang it. This one gives me the warm and fuzzies.
It's a good one. End.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's probably in my top 25 somewhere.
It's one of those that it carries the show.
It really does. Are we ready for the fun facts sponsored by Cinco Fax Machine?
Yes, and if people don't know what we're talking about, you're probably confused.
Look up the Cinco Fax Machine because it's necessary and wonderful. So showrunner Al Jean came up with the idea remembering a card that he got in 3rd grade that actually said, "I choo-choo-choose you."
Wow.
It was an actual card that he got.
Was there a picture of a train?
I don't know if there was. It didn't mention that online. Also, this is the episode that establishes Ralph as Chief Wiggum's son.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Before, there was only one other time that they kind of hinted at it, which was in Camp Krusty when they said his name was Ralph Wiggum, but they never specifically stated that his dad was Chief Wiggum. They just said that was his last name. And you could infer that maybe he was related somehow. But this one specifically says that that's his son. The first Simpsons episode to censor profanity, which was Sideshow Mel when he was on the Wowie sauce.
I love that Wowie sauce.
And just seeing him, because he's always so, like, kind of posh and Shakespearean, and he's just cursing at Krusty. This was also the first appearance of Bill and Hillary Clinton.
But not the last.
But not the last. I made the... You can't see that part, but I made that stupid expression that Bill Clinton makes at the end of that one episode. Which episode is that?
I don't know. But it's just like the stupid smile and he bites his lip.
Oh my god, I'm glad Frankie's not here to make her Clinton impression. It's terrible because it's so good. But yeah, that's I Love Lisa. Oh, the other thing that I didn't even know, like, I felt stupid for not realizing this. I Love Lisa is a play on I Love Lucy.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's the same syllables, starts with L, and nobody says, well, I guess he kind of does says I Love Lisa Simpson at some point, but I mean, they were going somewhere with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like this episode a lot.
I do too. And we didn't do a Valentine's Day episode last year, I don't think.
I don't think so. No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. Because, I mean, we started doing this. We've got, like, The Way We Was and...
we can't hit all the holidays every year.
All others. Yeah, we're not going to have a St. Patrick's Day episode because we already did that one episode. Yeah.
Yeah, of it.
Yes. I need to look up what our next episode is. Oh, and we also need to give a shout out to Timothy Burleson. Timmy, who is our patron saint, our only patron. And if you wish to see our Patreon, we're at patreon.com/SimpsonsSibs, Simpsons SIBS. And you can get cool stuff. We'll say your name on the air. You'll get, like, Simpsons paintings, which I'm, like, about to send Timothy a Simpsons painting that I made for him. We'll spoil you, basically.
We'll bring you gold.
We'll bring you gold.
You did a good job of that.
I used to do that a lot as a kid. I would just randomly say that because that's such a great episode with, the horses. All right, so our next episode, tune in as we cover Season 1, Episode 4, There's No Disgrace Like Home. Fun story behind this one. I wanted to do one of those random number generated episodes. Last time we got like Break My Wife Please, which is like some random season 15 or something. And I was expecting something near the middle, something that maybe we don't watch a lot. So I put in a number generator. It was like 1 through 700 something of how many episodes of Simpsons exists. I got 4.
Well, that's like a 1 in 700 something chance of getting that number.
Exactly. It was because I was like, okay, I'm going to get some weird middle of the road number. I got 4. So this is technically a random number generated episode. But it did its job because I wouldn't have thought to pick that one.
It was quite random.
It was. There we go. So watch the episode before you listen to get the full experience. And until then, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.